that rain down on them.
So if you're in the middle of a battle, and then suddenly you hear this high-pitched whistling, screeching sound, you know from experience that these things are going to be hitting you any second, literally a split second.
These arrowheads are unlike any others ever produced. Too large to fly aerodynamically, too blunt to inflict serious injury. These projectiles unlock the secrets of how ancient Chinese battlefield commanders spoke to their troops in the days before radios.
The main use of whistling arrows was a signal device here, a sort of early version of the flares that are used on today's battlefields.
Ancient China in the 2nd century AD. In the remote reaches of Mongolia lived a nomadic people known as the first Khans of Xiongnu, and led by a warrior chief named Miaden. Ancient legends say that Miaden deployed whistling arrows. A few people on the planet know more about them than Stephen Selby. He traveled to the farthest corners of China in his hunt for this legendary device. Amazingly, he has discovered proof. He has found an actual whistling arrowhead.
This is an original arrowhead. It's about 2,000 years old. It comes from north of China, probably the area that was occupied by the Xiongnu. And although it's so old and it's made of bronze, it'll probably still whistle quite well. We can have a try.
Legends say that Miaden used the piercing sound of the whistling arrows to send signals to his troops in the heat of battle.
The story goes that Miaden invented the whistling arrow, and then he directed his troops to kill whatever the arrow went in. He fired the arrow to his favorite hunting dog. Some of the troops went over and killed the dog, but some of them were too afraid. The ones who were afraid were killed. Finally, he fired the arrow to where his father was standing, and all the troops rushed over and killed his father.
Miaden swept through southern China. Armed with whistling arrows, he was able to control battles like a puppet master.
For the general on the battlefield, he couldn't be in the thick of the battle. He had to be at a high location, overlooking the formations.
The stories say that Miaden could send signals to attack to troops up to a half-mile away. But could a bronze whistle, like the one Stephen found, really make enough sound to cut through the noise of battle?
I've spent a lot of time making pipe organs and making whistles and pipes of various sorts. So this was actually quite an interesting challenge to work out exactly how these things operate. And basically, it's like most whistles. We've got a sound chamber. These can be quite small, which will give a very, very high-pitched shrill sound. The bigger they are, the lower the pitch will be.
Richard has been able to work out how the sound is produced.
The air is rushing over that hole there. It's hitting an angle, which is this little device we call the fiddle. The air is caused to move inside the fiddle, causing the build-up of pressure on the inside.
Air rushing through the hole in a whistle pressurizes the air in the chamber. This causes the molecules to vibrate rapidly enough to create an audible sound. In a whistling arrow, the vibrations are so vigorous that the sound is heard as high-pitched screech. Will this ingenious application of basic physics produce a loud enough sound to change the tide of a battle? At Cranfield Weapons Testing Facility in England, Stephen Selby will put the whistling arrow to the test. He has rigged a decibelometer to gauge any change in audio level.
We've fixed up this sound meter here, and it's on the wall just at the place where the arrow is going to fly past. And it will continuously measure the sound, but when it reaches the loudest level of sound, it will just freeze there, and then after the test we're going to be able to read off what the maximum sound level was.